Do you want me to share the up-to-date odds or?
Yeah, you can go ahead and share that.
Okay.
What's up, everyone? What we're doing basically is we're going through our best bets for the 2021 NFL Draft. The four of us here and a couple other guys, we basically put together a huge sheet of like NFL Draft prop bets and stuff, and we're kind of just, Devante Smith, 11.5 is the over-under. Do you think he's going to go over or under? And like we just kind of collected a huge pile of those. So feel free to, chime in, ask questions in the comments section. We're kind of just doing like a Q&A hybrid, like draft bet episode here. So,
yes, sir. We live, boys. Spicy Hot knows what's up, dude. I'm a sex symbol. That's what it is, Tyler.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. You love it.
The sheet too as well. Maybe. Dope.
So we all watching draft day tonight or what?
Tomorrow. It's always Thursday.
What? No.
Yeah, the night before. You watch it the day of the draft.
No, you watch it the night before.
Dude, tell me Draft Day is not like the best bad movie of all time.
I actually don't think it's a bad movie. Everyone thinks it's a bad movie. I actually kind of like it.
I like it, but it's not a good movie, but I enjoy it,
David goddamn Putney in there.
David goddamn Putney. Imagine an NFL team in actuality hinging a deal based off a fucking punt returner.
Oh, that'd be hilarious, dude.
It's like, nah, if you don't include Cordero Patterson, we're not doing this.
Yeah. No, I want Hakeem goddamn Grant because I feel like it.
Honestly, we could probably go over these. I think these are probably more exciting anyways.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, I didn't even realize all those comments were like that. Let's get that off the screen.
Danny looks like he owns a white van for fun. Dude, that's terrible. Come on, Danny. It's horrible.
Wait, did we all end up picking the Patriots? Oh, except for Flat. He picked the Broncos for Fields.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's probably locked. So yeah, all these picks are locked, I guess, now. Yeah, dang, I probably should have changed. I don't know. Well, I mean, okay, so Teddy Bridgewater just got traded. So how does that hypothetically change the scope of the first nine? Because I mean, that opens up another spot for a team to move up for Lance or Fields.
The Broncos trading a 6th round pick for Teddy Bridgewater doesn't mean that they're not still interested in a quarterback. In my opinion,
they're not going to.
What it tells me is that they don't think they're going to get whoever it is that they're after.
That they're going for a backup plan. And worst case scenario, if you don't get a quarterback, you can deal with Bridgewater. Best case scenario, you can still take a young quarterback, let Bridgewater play for a year, and you spent the 6th round pick for him. You can get rid of him. It's not hard.
Or you can do that.
Spicy Hall wants to know, who do we have the Niners taking? I actually placed a bet on Trey Lance to the 49ers, the 3rd overall pick. So I think they're going to go with. I mean, I go back and forth like every 10 minutes between Trey Lance and Mac Jones. I do think it's going to be
Mac Jones.
I think my gut's telling me that they're going to go Mac Jones, but my head is telling me that they Kyle Shanahan's just fucking with everybody and he's going to go Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I think it's going to be Trey Lance, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think that's like what everyone thinks, but I guess like for the basis of like this contest, if you will, or like a mock draft, like I don't get why Lance wouldn't or why Mac Jones wouldn't be the 3rd pick, because every single report has had him going 3. Like every single beat reporter, every single sharp guy has had him going 3. And like, I feel like it's just like a wasted conversation now that people are having, because it seems pretty locked in that it's Mac Jones compared to the other teams.
Me and Corey just like had a moment of fucking clarity.
We put Tyler in timeout for making stupid comments. Anyway, yeah, no, I seriously think we when it happens, when whoever gets drafted by the 49ers, we're gonna be like, oh, it was all a ruse this whole time. It was clearly Trey Lance this whole time. Because we heard back in like January when the 49ers were picking at 12 that they were really in on Trey Lance, and that's what makes me think it's Trey Lance, because usually when you hear shit at the beginning of the process, like early before the combine, all that other stuff, like back in a couple of years ago when the Browns took Denzel Ward at 4, like we heard that they were targeting Denzel Ward all the way back then, and it got completely muddied up with them taking Bradley Chubb that year. And I was like, as soon as they picked Denzel Ward, Daniel Jeremiah's like, hey, we heard this back in January that they really like Denzel Ward.
Yeah, dude, I maybe it happens, and if it does happen, then we can comment on it further. But until it does, I just can't logically believe that you traded 3 first-round picks for Kirk Cousins with a DUI.
My stance is like, because everyone's going to be like that, but like no one's good at evaluating quarterbacks.
No, and I'm not saying
but,
he's wrong. Like I'm not saying Kyle Shanahan's wrong for taking Mac Jones because he clearly sees something and he's scouting with the eye of his own system, his own offense. And we've seen quarterbacks of Mac Jones' skill set succeed in that system with Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins and stuff. So it does make a lot of sense.
At a quarterback
exactly. I think what Kyle Shanahan has realized is that he can't win a Super Bowl with those quarterbacks. He's been to Super Bowl. He can't win the Super Bowl with those quarterbacks. So I think he has realized that he needs more of a dynamic quarterback to win Super Bowls, like a Patrick Mahomes or whatever. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, coaches have big egos. He probably likes Mac Jones because he can like kind of orchestrate the offense through the mind of Mac Jones and through the right arm of Mac Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the rationale for it. I don't understand why you would, I guess, limit yourself because, to be honest, the way I view it is if Mac Jones hits the ceiling, okay, he's a really good, efficient quarterback. He can be a Kirk Cousins, 32 touchdowns a year, which is very good production. However, is he ever going to have that Deshaun Watson type ceiling?
But the Niners don't need that. They went to
I get that, but on the flip side, there's people that are saying that Mac Jones is more quote unquote pro ready than those other guys when he's literally started the same amount of games as Trey Lance and Justin Fields has 2 starting years in the Big Ten.
Mac Jones has the fewest amount of starts in the entire class, and people are pulling the pro ready thing on him. I don't know. I think it's going to be just completely the story of the draft. Like everybody knows that this is the story of the draft. Whatever happens, I think we're all going to see it. Like I think we're going to know like a couple of minutes before the draft, like what's going to happen.
Yeah, do you think we'll know before the pick goes on the clock?
I do. I think it's going to come out tomorrow at some point.
Yeah. At the end of the day here, the right pick should be Justin Fields, in my opinion.
I mean, I think Trey Lance is just as fine of a pick.
And when Justin Fields gets drafted by the Patriots and he ends up being a top 5 quarterback in football within the next 2 years, we can all say how Bill Belichick got a steal yet again.
Everyone's got a hard on for Justin Fields. It's so funny.
He's so good, man.
I know he's great. Spicy Yacht says, who's got money on the Raiders drafting a bust?
You don't have to put money on it. It's just a guarantee.
Yeah. I mean, they've drafted a lot of busts in the past couple of years. Not Ruggs. So we're not going to put him in that category.
Well, no, it's every pick.
So John Gruden loves people with off the field issues and attitude problems. How much you want to bet Micah Parsons is a Las Vegas Raider?
Yeah, and that would not be a bust because that'd be an absolute steal. But he's my number 5.
I mean, you can't deny the off the field issues with the guy if he's talented or not. Like he's got some problems that have been reported. So.
Yeah, and his problem is he likes to spear fucking quarterbacks. Like he's literally he's clearly the best defensive prospect in this class. I don't even think it's
I think he's the best prospect in the class.
It's close. The thing with him that I noticed, again, I played the position, so I kind of have a little bit of insight. I was just messing around. But anyways, he's not the most natural in coverage, I've noticed. Again, that'll come. It's instincts. It's learning the position. He just literally got transitioned to linebacker within the last couple of years. That's a process that's going to happen. You don't find guys who run a 4.35 and move the way he does and attack downhill the way he does. It's just the thing with him is the positional value is probably what's going to knock him down the board in addition to those allegations. So you're looking at it.
Drafted is probably what the allegations are.
Yeah, you got a linebacker with some concerns versus a Surtain or a Horn who doesn't have those kind of blemishes on their record. I think he's probably going to end up being the 3rd overall defensive player off the board, probably at around 13-14 mark. But we can see because there could be a team that falls in love with him in that top 7. Like Detroit, for all we know, we talk about the receiver. They could fall in love with him at 7. You mentioned in the mock draft that we were working on. They could fall with him at 7. Let's be honest here. Dan Campbell loves how he wants guys that can bite kneecaps off. Well, guess what? Micah Parsons does a lot more than that.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Fuck.
Well, what's good? Arnold Mac Jones to the Niners. Easy podcast for podcasters.
That's my 3rd channel because you guys kept blocking all mine.
So, I mean, definitely possible. I'm going to block you again. You shouldn't have told me that. Anyway, Teddy B to Denver drafting. Are they out on drafting a quarterback? I think what Teddy B to Denver tells me is that they know they're not getting whoever it is they're targeting. So if Denver, for example, because teams do this, like we all think there's a clear-cut top 5 quarterbacks in this draft, but every team will have certain guys that they don't like for their system or for their philosophy as an offense. So like Denver maybe only has 3 or 4 of the 5 quarterbacks that they would draft at the 9th pick that they have. And maybe they know for a fact that Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence were 2 of them. And whoever the Niners are picking, maybe they know who it is one of the others. And maybe they're just out on the class after those 3 guys. And they just don't want to draft a quarterback this year.
Yeah, like for example, apparently the Steelers have Kyle Trask ahead of one of the other top 5 quarterbacks.
Like, the geniuses. That's what I have.
Well, I mean, it makes
quarterback 6.
The same team that had Mason Rudolph as a top 2 quarterback in the class a couple years ago loves Mason Rudolph 2.0, so it makes sense.
Yeah, if you aren't pounding fucking drinks at 2 in the afternoon.
So if they're out on quarterback, let's just say like they're out on quarterback, like they don't want Mac Jones hypothetically or whatever, like literally who do they take? And I'm not saying like they're an elite team and like don't have any needs, but like they don't need corner. Do they
what team?
On JOK, Collins, Parsons, or do they go Slater, who they really don't even need in his own right, hypothetically, too? Like, they're kind of in, like...
Broncos?
Yeah, like, they're kind of in, like, a dead hypothetically, now.
I saw a report yesterday that basically said if the Broncos don't take a quarterback, you can pretty much slate in the pick.
With Slater?
Slater.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be a play on words. Yeah.
If he had to write his or rhyme in his report, he's not a real reporter. I don't know about that one.
I don't know, dude. Denver is in a tough position. I think they're going to trade down. To be honest, if they're out on whoever quarterback is on the board at the time, like they make a lot of sense. If Carolina and Detroit don't trade down to be a trade up partner for the Patriots or someone. Whoever else wants a quarterback, because I do think one of these quarterbacks is slipping somewhere. Like, I don't know. I don't think they're all going to be gone by pick 6 or something. Like, I think these top 5 QBs, one of them, probably Justin Fields, is going to slide to 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range in the draft. And New England, Chicago, or Washington's coming up for him.
Yep. We need Jeremiah. Big facts. Big Danny J.
Not Jeremiah. Jeremiah Wosu-Koromo, probably.
Yikes.
I thought he meant they needed a
GM. I mean, the better NFL Network analyst that you should have hired as your GM.
I thought that he was saying they need a new GM because fucking Mayock's so bad.
I don't even think it's Mayock's fault, dude. I think the guys that they're drafting is all Gruden because Gruden has been a bad drafter. I've seen his bad draft picks firsthand.
Yeah, he loved Johnny Manziel, bro. He thought he was falling back.
He's not a good evaluator of talent, dude. He's the definition of like let your coach and your GM do his job.
Hey, Nick, yeah, I mean, absolute tone setter. That's the right way to put it, you know? Yes, we are Spicy Yacht. We will be live for all 3 days.
Yeah, I think the draft starts at 8 o'clock. We'll probably be live tomorrow around like, I don't know, 7:30, like something like that to just, get amped up. Wear the jerseys. I'm going to probably be in the bag by 32. I'm going to just admit that right now. Like, we're going to be having some drinks and stuff, and my team picks really late in the draft, so we'll see.
Yeah, bro, you'll have
when Penny Sewell goes to the Dolphins.
I clicked the wrong button. Our GM, yeah, there you go.
Danny keeps getting tripped up in the comments. I love it.
Yeah, but like going through some of those, I mean, you could show the mock and shit too. Okay.
I mean, yeah, we don't have to like go pick by pick or anything, but I guess do we all have the first 5 locked in the same, or are they different?
No, I don't have Mac Jones at 3.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of people that are watching, and they're on the opposite ends. Great. Okay, so outside of that, I guess at 6, Tyler has Waddle at 6, but he says they're going to take Sewell 100%. Go and bet it.
I just copied your mock.
Oh,
okay.
Big draft strategy.
Okay, so I guess I have Waddle. What do you guys have for the Dolphins?
I think you're gonna pick Sewell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna pick Sewell, but I need the points. So.
And then then I guess we don't have to talk about that one. Then you guys both have Detroit trading for New England to get Fields. I have them taking. I have back-to-back Sewell. I messed that up. That was Fields. I just have him taking Fields straight.
Bro,
up.
Sewell's so good. He gets taken twice in the top 8.
Yeah, now Lucas is copying my mock, dude.
Yeah, they're not gonna pick a quarterback. There's no way.
That's what I thought. I guess going into it.
They should take one.
But all the guys that our top accuracy every year in all these mocks, and like some of the sharper guys, like they said that like that's definitely a possibility. And like it makes sense because they can cut Goff for 10 mil dead cap next year. And like the counterpoint to them not doing that would be like they traded for Goff when like in reality they didn't trade for Goff. They just offloaded a guy that wanted to leave, hypothetically, to start the rebuild. So like I could see him going Fields and just playing Goff. I don't know. First, honestly, you don't even need to play him. Fields would beat him out in camp. Just let Fields start and cut Goff next year for the 10 mil, and then just kind of go from there with all the picks they have. But I mean, New England does make sense. I guess the only reason I would like backfire would be I don't know if they want to drop down 8 picks because that kind of takes them out of like the really good player category, if you will. I think there is a pretty big drop off.
However, they have so many needs. If you traded down to 15 hypothetically and still landed,
You're looking for an extra
one of those. And you still get one of those receivers. Let's just say hypothetically, potentially if Smith or Waddle fell, I don't think they will. And worst case scenario, you can just go Bateman. No, they need to do.
They're just gonna honestly, they're just gonna pick whatever player.
Yeah, like I could see they take him, but like the reasoning why I think they're a pretty they're making good moves to be a pretty sharp organization. Like Campbell's definitely like I don't really know yet, but like it seems like they kind of know what they're doing.
Kneecaps.
Yeah, well, like I mean, they admitted to tanking and then they completely tanked. Like that's how you do it. Like you're not like, oh, I'm tanking and then like kind of trade people away. Like you just let it fly, right?
Are you trying to like come after Miami?
I mean, a little bit, but I think like
because they clearly announced a tank and then they
Devante Smith and Jalen Waddle like don't help that wide receiver.
However, like, if you can trade down, get a first rounder next year or like a 2 and 3 this year, and then still get like Rashad Bateman at 15. That's optimal as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and that makes sense. I guess I don't know if they would do that hypothetically because they seem like they're just going to be like take best player available, next pick.
But I mean, the strength of this draft is offensive skill positions, dude. Like best player available could very well be a wide receiver.
That's
like,
fair too. Yeah.
Is it like what are they going to take? Like Kwity Paye at that pick? Like Kwity Paye is the best player available.
And Kwity Paye's solid, but like I wouldn't do that either. They could. To be fair, if they traded down, that could make sense for a Barmore spot.
No, I don't think Christian Barmore goes in the top 30 picks.
Dude, I hope he goes 12.
Teams are pretty split on him, I guess, is what.
What I've seen is that NFL executives are like openly admitting this is the worst defensive tackle class in history, and they like would not pick a single defensive tackle in the first round.
I was listening to the PFF like forecast, so it's like the 2 analytics guys that have all the models and stuff, and they were saying like basically across every position but quarterback, like it's one of the worst classes. Like all the classes are very, very bad compared to the last like 20 years. Like just
I mean, like I would say. Like wide receiver is not better than last year. I know we thought
wide receiver is very top heavy. I think it's very overrated just because we don't have football and stuff going on. Like I think it's very, very top heavy.
Yeah, I think the running back class is bad. I think the O-line class is a little overrated from what people used to say.
It's not like last year,
Yeah.
It was an incredible prospect.
I mean,
yeah, like D-line, like edge, D-tackle, fucking safety, like those are bad. They're bad classes.
Corner's pretty good. I'll give corner.
Edge is pretty good. Actually, Edge is not that bad this year. Honestly.
Edge doesn't
have a top guy. It doesn't have a top guy, but
Edge is deep,
Edge has like 12 guys that can see getting like starting roles in the NFL.
Sure, but they're all like you pick them between pick 40 and like 70. Like
Peyton Turner, for example.
Here, all these edge rushers are going in the second round, in my
How
opinion.
about how bad the safety class is?
Yeah, the safety class is really bad.
Like from last year,
3 good guys.
Like last year, we're like McKinney, Delpit falling to the second was incredible.
Is Morig a lock for a first round?
Yeah,
I don't think he's a lock. I think he's.
I think so.
First round though.
I assume he was, but I'm kind of struggling to like fit him in.
Well, you got Merrick, you got Holland, you got Richie Grant, and then you got Ardarius Washington. I'd
be really shocked if more than one safety were in the first round.
Williams.
It'll be a day 2 sort of safety grouping, if you will.
This corner class is pretty freaking stacked. Obviously, the receivers are stacked. Offensive tackle's incredible.
I don't think offensive tackle is a great class.
It's amazing, bro.
I don't think it's great. I think it's a good class.
Yeah. Well, you got your blue chippers with your Slater and your Sewell. You got really good other first round type talents in Darisaw, Jenkins,
But
Crosby.
where would all those guys rank compared to the class last
Oh,
year?
last year's was probably the best offensive tackle class in the last 10 years. Like,
yeah,
honestly,
as well.
I would say this offensive tackle class is probably in like the top 30 or so percent. If you were to compare, like probably a top 3 overall tackle class in the last 10. But last year's was like the best.
Yeah,
I had ever
last year's
seen.
was pretty absurd. I'm not gonna lie.
Last year's draft in general. was
Okay,
just
let's
fucking
go through
crazy.
some of these player bets. I kind of find those like the over-unders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
I
interesting.
think these are the interesting ones where you can really make some, like, if you are planning on making some bets that I did. So I'll go over my bets real quick. I tweeted these out earlier, but I put $45 on Chuba Hubbard under 125.5 in the draft,
Agreed.
which is about a mid 4th round pick. If you look at it that way, I think he's going to go higher than that. I've been saying this, like, he's a 2,000 yard back who potentially had some injury issues this past year. And if his medicals are cleared up, I don't see any chance in hell that he gets outside the top 75, 100 picks.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And when we talked about it in our mock draft, I think a really good spot for him would be at that 49th overall pick if he landed with the Cardinals. Honestly.
Yeah, I think that the Niners have a pick at like 81 too. I think that's a good spot for him. Another bet I made too is this one. The line to me seems off because Travis Etienne's over-under for his draft position, I got it at 34.5. To me, that seems like a value because 34 with the New York Jets, to me, seems like if he's on the board, they're not going to pass him there.
I think
so. Like at the very last resort, I think that's where he goes. If not, I think he actually does go in the first round.
Yeah, no, definitely. By the way, I just noticed the thumbnail looking good.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I don't know. I think the ETN one's I think a lot of them like in like draft FanDuel. I don't know if they have one up. Like I think it's like 32.5. I want to say.
I've seen 31.5, which to me seems like a good line.
Yeah, they don't have the running backs up. Or yeah, they do right here. So ETN on FanDuel is 32.5. And like I get the 34 is a good number. I think that's a good bet. But like the 32 I think is unbettable because like every year this happens. It's like, oh, they're gonna go running back. There's so many spots for running backs. But like Steelers seem pretty locked because they've like openly said,
dude, the Steelers are taking Najee Harris. Like, this is the most confident pick I can make in this entire draft is that the Steelers will end up with Najee.
But like
the Steelers,
like I feel like teams are pretty like smart about it, except for like the Chiefs. There's just a luxury pick, and obviously like
it's a luxury pick for the Bucs.
Like yes, and like I think they're smart enough to see what happened with the Chiefs' luxury pick not last year. Clearly, they beat him in the Super Bowl.
ETN's a better prospect than CEH, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I'm not arguing
like the agrees that ETN would probably be the better prospect.
Yeah,
CEH in this class would be like my RB like 5. And this
he would be RB4.
He was like your RB5 last year. What are you talking about?
No, he last year. Watch your mouth.
He'd be RB5 or RB4 pretty easily on it. Like
him and like I have a very similar grade on him and Carter.
No, Gainwell, Carter, and I honestly I'd put Kylan Hill over him. So
come on, Tyler.
Moving on.
You seriously can't believe that.
Dude, CH was horribly great.
So what was the third one you bet, Bush? And I can talk about
the third one I bet was Trey Lance is the 3rd overall pick.
Okay, I think you got pretty good odds.
I got good odds on it. It's plus 275.
Oh yeah, I think that's
fair. Like I think that was good odds. I wouldn't have bet it if it was like plus 150 or something. Like I do think I can't remember what Mac Jones is. I think he was like minus 130.
170 probably. Yeah, probably right. Which like I don't. The part that like I kind of step back is like we know 1 and 2 is locked in, right? And they're both like minus 5,000. So it's like 98% projected probability or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Mac Jones is probably 75% locked in based on the same, like just based on like the reports and everything.
Like hearsay?
I don't know, dude. The way that Kyle Shanahan spoke in his press conference makes me think he's going to take Mac Jones. Did you hear the way he was talking? He's like, I got people coming up to me like telling me not to do certain things. And like the way he was speaking about it was like, these people don't know what they're talking about. I know what's best for this team, which he does. But like it seemed like the pick was already in. Like he knows he's picking Mac Jones, and he's going to have some backlash to face because
they made the pick when they traded up. Like they made the pick.
100%.
So like I don't know. I just think like the lines are a little off in that sense. That being said, like I get why people aren't just banging minus 160 on Mac Jones because it's Mac Jones. Like it's a little bit of a different sort of process around it. But no, I think those are fair. I'm trying to think. The 2 that I placed were Jalen Phillips under 20.5, and I think he's at.
I wouldn't touch him in his line with a 10-foot pole because he has medicals.
Yeah. Anybody with medicals, I heard a lot of teams are nervous about these guys with medicals now because a lot of the shit's going under the rug. Like, for example,
whatever Terrace Marshall's line is, I bet the overhits.
Yeah,
same with
it was 30. It was 30.
Darasol could slip too because apparently he had some medicals under the tent that nobody was talking about.
Yeah,
Good.
and like that's what makes me a little nervous about Hubbard, the Hubbard bet that I made. But I think the line is just so good.
Not far, like
That was a
125.
little different, though. But I think, and then the other one I bet was Stokes under 45.5, and his line's down to like under 38.5. And
Yeah, fast corner, man. He'd be a good fit for Carolina at like 38.
It sounds like he's getting a lot of late round buzz, like from like Jeremiah and Brugler and like Silva and these guys that have all the connections.
Unless
Unless
the Saints move up, he doesn't get past 28 if the Saints are picking 28. Eric Stokes doesn't get past 28.
Colts need a corner. Titans need one. Jets need one. Bucks
early second round is big corner range too with Panthers.
Yeah, that's why I'm betting just because there's so many.
Heck, the Cowboys could be in the corner market if they don't take one at 10.
Yeah,
they're gonna. I think it's like an absolute certainty that they're gonna take Patrick Surtain. Like I actually unless Carolina picks him at 8, like he's gonna make out.
Apparently, they're locked in at Surtain right now. Like that would be the pick.
Would be too. He's like a very very clean prospect. If I had to bet money that like defensive prospect in this class did not bust, I would probably bet Patrick Surtain.
The thing is, it's like people want to say, "Oh yeah, Horn's got a higher ceiling because he's better. He's better in press man. He's a little bit better athletically." But like, if I want a guy to say, "You're on your island, do your thing," Patrick Surtain over anybody in this class. Because quite frankly, in terms of technique, in terms of understanding what the offense is trying to do against him, in terms of just intelligence in his zone, man, he fits that cover 3 to a fucking T.
Yeah,
like that is the most refined.
How bad the scheme is in a bit, but that you're going to be running. The Dan Quinn scheme, yeah. Like I mean,
maybe
he does definitely.
It can't be worse than what Nolan was doing last year. That's
that doesn't mean it has to be better though.
Yeah, I mean, like what Dan Quinn did in Atlanta, like his team immediately became a top 10 defense once he was fired. So I don't know. The thing with Atlanta, I think they're one of the most fascinating teams in this draft, is because they're either going to make a decision right at 4. Me and Danny talked about this on the running back matchmaker show, but they're either going to go future or now, right? And I think a lot of teams around the league would probably assume they're going to go future because
they're not in a spot to go future, though, is the thing. Like,
yeah, like the rough thing is that like the contracts of Julio Jones and Matt Ryan make it difficult to go future. Like, because if they had no dead money, it'd be really easy, just like cut bait with them, trade them, whatever, and then you could just take Trey Lance or Justin Fields at 4. In the second round, you load up on offensive linemen or defense or whatever. But the thing with Atlanta, the way that they're set up is that they need to probably compete for the next 2 years because of the way that Matt Ryan's contract is structured. So I think they could really, really load up their offense with Kyle Pitts at 4 and Javonte Williams at 35.
Honestly,
Pitts is locked in. I don't think they're going to go running back because, like, I think they know that's.
But it makes sense if they do pick Pitts and they stick with Matt Ryan, and maybe they keep Julio, maybe they trade Julio. Pitts might be Julio's replacement to some degree or something like that. They could just go Javonte Williams and Kyle Pitts just to try and really compete now. Because if those guys turn out to be what we think they can be, like that offense will be hard to stop. Like, and their defense played well enough last year that they're not just going to let up 37 points a game like they were earlier.
That's fair. I'll take Mike Davis in a corner over Javonte, though.
I don't think like the thing is, like, they had AJ Terrell play really well last year.
Or edge or line, literally anything but a running back. Like, they could use literally anything.
I don't know. If it's Javonte at 35, it's worth it. If it's like if Javonte and Etienne and Harris are all off the board, then punt the running back position because those 3 are the only running backs worth a damn in this class.
Wow.
It's true. Like I
can't wait for that to be wrong though. Like
it's gonna be wrong. Like it'll probably be freaking Ramondre Stevenson like the 7th round and it ends up being
Tom said it.
10 won't be the fullback, but all right.
A lot of teams have him as a fullback, I guess, from what what people are saying. He's like the RB4, just like on like their board or whatever, because he's a fullback, I guess.
Yeah, fullbacks like don't get drafted until like round 6.
No, like he's not
Hey, my boy Ben Mason, bro.
What I will say is that if you're a Hayden Hurst owner, I wouldn't be as scared as you may think you probably should be. It's a 12 personnel set that
I'd be scared.
Offense scheme is being brought in.
I'd be frightened, bro. I'd be gone. I was scared of Hayden Hurst like without any competition.
Yeah,
bro.
but if you had dynasty shares of him, it is better to hold them and let them ride than to trade him at
because you're not going to get anything for him right now. Like,
They're going to run 12 personnel set. He's going to be on the field. Kyle Pitts is definitely going to be used as a wide receiver mainly.
Dude, his Anthony Firkser level targets are really going to get you a lot of production.
There's like maybe
I'm just saying, well, Lucas, what are you going to trade? What are you going to trade for?
15 years that have
effectively
used 2 tight ends to make them both fantasy relevant.
I would take
Eagles and the Patriots.
I would take a 3rd round rookie pick for Hayden Hurst right now.
I would too, but I don't think anyone's giving you that.
That's
what I'm saying. Like you
think of it. At a non-tight end premium, you could still probably get one of the top 4 tight ends in this class for a 3rd round rookie pick.
And I would take any of them. You can get 4th round tight end and non-premium. And
Hunter Long has like a 4th round deal at ADP. I would take him 10 times over Hayden Hurst.
100%.
There's only 3 tight ends worth a damn, and one is kind of a question mark because he's barely a tight end.
Who's that?
Brevin.
No.
Yeah, Brevin Jordan. Honestly, like he to me
he's
just screams landmine. He just screams landmine to me in like rookie drafts, man. Like,
really?
I don't know, I think he's got to go to a situation that like really knows how to.
He has to be on the Jets.
We're gonna know if that is the case.
He has to be on the Jets.
It's really funny how there's like one like pure tight end in this class in Pat Freiermuth, and
I mean Hunter Long is a better prospect, but sure.
I don't know. I'm all.
He's a pure tight end. He played more in line.
But like, what is like a pure tight end? Like, because there's not like pure
inline tight end.
Inline tight end. And Hunter Long played more snaps in line than Freiermuth did. So
that's fair. But I mean, like the good tight ends in the NFL don't play in line.
That's why I said pure tight end. Like we've built a hybrid now in the NFL. Where
and hybrids are. I mean, if Kyle Pitts wasn't such a freaky like prospect, like that would be the concern with how he's going to be used. But he's going to go so high in the draft that it's not going to matter.
If Kyle Pitts had like, if he was like downgraded like 2 times, like Kenny,
so like a top 20, 25 prospect or something.
Yeah, like that's where you start seeing a concern. Is like how would he actually be used? But it's not even going to be an issue because you can put him anywhere on the field and he'll do just fine because he has speed at his size.
Yeah.
He's going to step in the NFL and dominate. I don't get, and I get Lucas is the only one that believes this, but I really don't get how you could see him not do well in year 1. Like I think from the jump he's going to be fantastic.
Well, I mean the fair thing is that no tight end has. So yes,
but
Kyle,
on top of that, you add in like the team he's going to, he's going to be 3rd in targets at best.
No, I think if they take Pitts, they're going to trade Julio. Honestly, dude, I don't think they're going to keep them both.
But then that would be like
that would be so counterintuitive in my opinion.
Not really though, because like you could convince yourself that you're rebuilding, but you can't actually move on from Matt Ryan yet. Like you can just leave Matt Ryan.
By taking Pitts, you can just hold your pieces, and you're a top 5 offense in the NFL.
Sure,
literally.
but you might still be one without Julio, to be honest.
But like that'd be so counterintuitive to the actual move of picking Pitts, because if you're not going all in this year to try to win, just take the fucking quarterback.
Okay,
you're a 4th overall.
If you're going all in to win, wouldn't the all in pick not be a tight end, a position that like
it would be the piece that makes it'd be the piece that makes your fucking offense a 30-point per game.
In this class, it'd be Pitts or Chase if you're going all in.
Yeah.
So choose your pro. But say it was last year's class, like there was no all-in piece. It just happened class. They lined up the 4th pick.
Going into the draft, it would have been Akuda, but then he would have been taken.
I mean, Akuda's a corner though. I mean, corners take a while to develop too.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Corners aren't an all-in piece. But
like carried 2 wide receivers like that. That's the other question we aren't really like addressing too much. Is can his offense really sustain 2 solid fantasy level wide receivers?
Definitely.
Yeah,
the Falcons?
I mean, I hate Corey Davis, so I don't like him. That's
what are we talking about?
The Falcons offense.
If you have a Kyle Pitts who's remarkably better than Jonnu Smith, he's obviously going to demand and receive.
It's a completely different personnel. You're talking about a power run team.
Matt Ryan doesn't run play action. You can't translate. Yeah. Like you can't just replace Smith and be like, okay, they're the Titans now. That's wrong thing.
One team's built around a 250-pound running back. The other one has 2 of the best receivers in football. There's a difference.
Yeah, and I think the way that Arthur Smith is going to orchestrate that offense is he's going to inject a running back somewhere, whether it's in free agency.
Yeah, Mike Davis.
He's going to build a play action type offense, but the problem with if Pitts goes there for his immediate fantasy success, I think Julio Jones is playing his last year in Atlanta. Or if he even plays this year at all.
Lucas, if Mike Davis is the RB1 in Atlanta come NFL season time, like I'll
why not? I'm not saying he will be.
I know from a capital perspective, it makes sense. Okay, Davis has shown that he's a decent option. They could run with him if they needed to. NFL teams like things that are shiny. The Atlanta Falcons are going to see that they pick Kyle Pitts at 4 and are going to want to start.
Last year, he was shiny.
Yeah, he wasn't shiny anymore. I'm talking.
Yeah,
you're not talking about 2015.
So I get what you're saying, but
they
signed Todd Gurley, didn't draft a running back, and then they signed Mike Davis, who played against them twice last year. Yeah. I don't think they're going to draft one.
Okay, let's move off of the Falcons. We're talking about them for too long.
I just don't see any way they go into the season with Mike Davis as their only running back worth a damn on their team.
Based off what, though? You can't say past experience.
Well, either way.
Based off the fact that an NFL team hasn't given Mike Davis a lead role ever in his career.
Last year.
When their main running back got hurt.
Anyway, we are moving off this topic right now.
He's a backup, though. He filled in.
A new topic before I remove somebody from the stream.
Okay, Dad.
Yeah. So there's the popular discussion, the one that I really want to talk about because I think it's really interesting. I've seen rumors that teams are moving up, right? We got a couple teams that have been rumored to potentially move up. We have this morning came out that the Saints are potentially moving up, presumably for a corner, Caleb Farley, potentially if he slips because he has the back concerns. I've seen rumors also that Arizona might be moving up for a receiver, which to me that seems like Devante Smith to me. I think it'd be Devante Smith.
I think it'd be Waddle.
The Broncos pick's kind of open now.
I think the Broncos are just a absolute honey. Like 7, 8, 9 is just the absolute honeypot for teams to trade up to. Whether it's the Lions, the Panthers, or the Broncos, I think somebody is going up from 15 with the Patriots, 16 with the Cardinals, 20 or 19. Somebody is moving up into that range, whether it's for a quarterback or for a receiver.
I agree with you. I think that 8. I don't think the Panthers are moving, and I think it's because they realize that Sewell's there's a strong possibility that Sewell falls to him now. Whereas before it seemed like there's no way because we all thought the Bengals were going to take him. Maybe the Falcons take him. The Dolphins.
The Vikings are also rumored to potentially be moving up if Sewell or Slater is falling too.
Yeah, so I think the Panthers kind of stay hypothetically, but I like the Lions. I think they maybe stay just based on I don't know what team moves up, but yeah, I think that they're a pretty good trade spot. But I think the one thing that I know I've been talking about with my friends because they've just been asking questions is every year we do this thing where all these teams are going to trade up so many trades in the top 10 picks, and it's always the back half of the draft is where the trades happen. There's gonna be 1 or 2 in the first 15.
I think last year, and I'm pretty sure you're referring to last year's class because there was no trades until the Bucs traded up one spot with San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't even really count. I don't really even count that because the Niners are probably taking Kinlaw anyways. So what
I mean is, it seems like last year the teams got their best case scenario. Everybody just had the players they wanted fall to them. The Panthers got Derek Brown, who they wanted all along. A bunch of teams just got who they wanted, and they didn't need to the Dolphins didn't need to go up for Tua. The Chargers didn't need to move anywhere for Herbert. It just seemed like everything kind of fell into place. I think there's gonna be a lot more movement in the top 10 this year, especially with those 3 teams at the back of the top 10 who are all seemingly looking to move out of there.
I agree and also disagree because I feel like most teams are lined up to who they want because I think the first 5 picks are pretty locked, with quarterback, whoever it is, and then
Pitts
4, 5,
and then
Chase. The Dolphins hypothetically, maybe Chase was higher than Sewell on their board, but they would have had to expect by now that Chase is probably going. So Sewell is at the top, and then vice versa.
I think if the Dolphins were going to move down another time, it's been rumored that they might be weighing to move down, I think they would have already done it. To be honest, I think they're going to stay and pick Chase, Sewell, or Pitts, whoever falls.
Think of this: they wouldn't have traded next year's first-round pick if they didn't have a clear person in mind that was a value jump in their opinion between 12 and 6. Why the fuck would they trade down now that you're at 6? If you're trading down to 9, you're probably getting a 2. Why would you trade? Why would you trade? Why would you do that? I just don't understand the rationale of people.
Well, I could have seen it if it was the Broncos moving up or the Panthers. I could have seen that one, but now that hypothetically the Panthers and Broncos are out of the quarterback race, I get what you're saying. They're staying and picking. And honestly, it'll probably be right away. They'll turn the pick in because they're just going to get leftover of picks.
And I do think both of those teams are out of the quarterback race, and not because they made moves for less than stellar starters. Because not like Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater are world beaters right now. But the reason they made those moves is because they were Like you don't, especially with the Panthers, with trading like a second round pick and stuff, you don't make that move as a contingency plan. The Broncos might be much more of a contingency plan if they can't get a quarterback, but honestly, I think they could have made that move after the draft for Bridgewater. So I don't see why they would do it before the draft unless they know they're not getting whatever guy they coveted.
Yeah, I figured they would have done it like day 2 if they didn't get a QB round 1. But I mean, like, I guess I didn't even think because our new GM was like something. He had some relation to Minnesota with Teddy B. I guess I must have been a GM or assistant GM or something. So it kind of makes sense. And I mean, if someone wants to tell me that Sam Darnold is a 2nd and 3rd better than a 6th compared to Teddy Bridgewater, they can watch football or something. But
I mean, Sam Darnold, the way that the big media guys talk about him, they say like Mel Kiper says he's the 2nd best quarterback in this draft, like Sam Darnold. I'm like,
no fucking
maybe coming out, not after being in the league for 3 years, like,
and having one more year on his rookie contract.
I think he's good, but I don't think the Jets compared to the Panthers is going to unlock his talent. Like it's not.
If it's going to happen, I do not like.
What is his Panthers talent? 16th best quarterback in the league. Like
I think he's got a top 10 ceiling.
Yeah, I think he's got like a Ryan Tannehill level ceiling.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think that's realistic.
I don't think he's going to be like Deshaun Watson, but like I think he could be. I think he could be Ryan Tannehill if that happens. Well, it makes sense because like
they all that team needs. It's all the Titans.
For my money, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, you got your like top 6 to 8 type tier. Ryan Tannehill is right on that cusp. Ryan Tannehill is probably the 9th or 10th best quarterback in the NFL right now.
He might even be better than that, to be honest.
Honestly, and that might be underrating him. I think
in a large sample, like a 3-year sample, he's 6-7. But in a given year, there's always gonna be 2 or 3 dudes that finish it better than him.
It's hard to put him ahead of the other guys that I would say are ahead of him right now. Like for example, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, and then the Lamar Jackson. I would say.
But as bad as it is, like I think him and Russ are close. Like every year, I think we kind of play around with like. Russ
if you look at any advanced metrics of Ryan Tannehill versus Russell Wilson, it's probably in Tannehill's favor.
And I think like him and Lamar is a different category or conversation, but like for 31 of the other NFL teams, they would take Tannehill instead of Lamar. Like
that's fair.
So it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, I guess you could argue about 7, then like maybe putting him ahead of Lamar.
Okay, so let's get back to some of these bets. We're getting a little off topic here. Okay, so of these over-unders, actually, let's go first at the position. Let's talk about these ones.
Yeah, I can pull the sheet. Yeah.
Okay, so we got first corner. A lot of us have Surtains. You two have J.C. Horn. Is that just kind of to fade us and potentially
Panthers
get a point there, or?
This was different. Never mind.
I thought you copied Lucas for a second.
So
it's just copying someone the entire time. If you lose, they lose.
I mean, it's true. It's part of the game. Like you just gotta pick which ones you're confident in, I guess. I mean, the way I put it is like, well, so these lines, if people are watching, like aren't going to be up to date. We locked him in just to make it easy on me. Now this line is pretty much 50-50, and I kind of figured it was going to be that way. When I put this in. So I took Horn just based off the value. And I guess for people like watching the scoring, we did this in the season. It's basically 1 point per bet or $1 hypothetically. So if Horn gets picked, then I get $2.25 compared to they get 1 if Surtain. So it's not true odds because you would actually get like 50 cents, but I don't want to do all the math on that or whatever. But I think, I mean, it really comes down to Panthers and Cowboys, hypothetically, right? And maybe even now Broncos. They don't really need a corner, but like I could see him going one just to have.
Yeah, I mean, like if you can't find a trade partner, like the best available player on the board at that time is probably Surtain or Horn, unless you go Parsons or something.
More of a flip of the coin, I guess, to be a little different, but more flipping the coin on what should be 50 or what is 50-50 on up-to-date odds, I guess, compared to Surtain's right now.
Yeah. Okay. So first D lineman and edge. A lot of us have Phillips. A couple people have Pay. I think it is definitely one of those two guys. I don't know which one because I think Phillips is going to depend on his medicals, obviously, because he does have medical concerns. And Pay, I think, is definitely a team. I saw the Eagles were rumored to be really in on Kwity Paye, and they've surprised at edge rusher in the draft before. When they took Brandon Graham, no one expected him to go that high. And when they took Vinny Curry that 1 year too, like no one expected Derek Barnett. Yeah, like they kind of just do what they want at edge. So I could definitely see them pulling a shocker and pulling Kwity Paye at 12.
Heck, even way back in the day, Fletcher Cox was projected. Like I know it's not edge, but in terms of D line. They took Fletcher Cox a lot earlier than people thought that they would go. Now, Fletcher Cox, for their money, has ended up being one of the best defensive players of this decade. But like at the time, he was not projected to be as nearly as high as they took him, and I think they took him at 11 back then.
Yeah,
let's say 2012 draft.
Yeah, I think the Eagles kind of control their own sort of destiny, if you will. They're kind of going at their own pace. I think they did a good job of moving back, getting another first. They're kind of getting rid of the offloaded contract, so they kind of
shock me if they move back again, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think obviously these lines are a little different. Phillips is actually the leader. I think Ojulari's at like plus 400. I could see him going because he's actually listed as an outside linebacker compared to an edge. Some team maybe just want more versatility rather than a edge, I guess. But
he's probably going to play 3-4 edge.
Yeah, he's just listed as one.
That makes him a fit for the Giants then.
Mm-hmm.
If the Giants were to go edge, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the reason I would say that the Eagles might be trading down again is if this Arizona Cardinals rumor is true, because I think Arizona, if Waddle or Smith is on the board, would probably want to jump.
They really don't even need their offense runs through tight ends. They could use Bateman instead of Waddle and be honestly just as good from like an endpoint perspective if they acquire extra picks or something too. So I think they might. Yeah, I think it's a good call.
I could see them trading down again just because it seems like they've kind of committed to the fact that they're going to see what Hurts can do this year, and if not, they're going to draft a QB next year. Kind of thing.
I agree.
That's how they're thinking about it.
I agree. I think one that's interesting would be the linebacker one. So you guys all put Parsons, and I had Parsons in there. So I wouldn't put Collins because this line is very, very bad. Like Collins at plus 1,800. So getting 18.
I'm going to change mine right now because I've heard this guy's name a million times. He's a linebacker that I love. I'm putting Jamin Davis first.
Okay.
Spicy Hot asked the question, which bust are the Raiders going to draft? Someone's going to reach on a player. It's usually the Las Vegas Raiders, and I can see them taking Jamin Davis at 17.
I'm actually I might change it to Koromoa in case Parsons has.
I was shocked you guys all went Parsons.
I kind of just like Parsons to me is just like a kind of a dumb bet to make on this just because he has the off the field concerns and because everybody else was taking him, so you can really gain an advantage out of that.
Yeah, I just think linebacker is a position that unless you have like a Devin White is a wasted position. Like it is true though. Like the Broncos are fine with starting Alex Johnson.
That's also like saying like the running back position is a wasted position.
There's some good linebackers in this class.
Yeah.
Like these four guys that we just talked about, I think they're all top 40 picks. Which
I agree.
You couldn't have said. I don't remember what year it was, but I think it was the Devin White year. It was just the Devins and like nobody else.
Yeah, and Nick Bolton as well. Like I know he didn't test as well, but in terms of if you're just looking for a pure Mike that can play the position at a really high level, like Nick Bolton's a really good football player.
Yeah. The O-line and the safety ones, to me, it's like there's no reason to even talk about. Like it's probably definitely Sewell at O-line. It would be a really big shocker if Slater went ahead of him. And then I think at safety, it's absolutely going to be Barry first.
Should I like explain reasoning here?
Sure.
I'm assuming the odds.
Well, so my thing with Slater is we're doing a situation where we lose point. You lose 12 points if you pick Sewell and he doesn't go, right?
No, you lose 0.
No, you would lose 0. It's only like the only way you'd have to think about it is if someone else didn't pick Sewell, they would gain points on you. And because we all have Sewell, and if Sewell doesn't go first, you're going to gain points on us because we all pick Sewell.
Why wouldn't we lose points on Nate?
Technically speaking, you would lose overall points, but you wouldn't lose any type of advantage because everybody also went with it.
Yeah, and we did the same scoring for what we did in season. But if we did true odds, you would get on a dollar bet or a dollar point, you'd get whatever, $1,200, 9 cents in return for getting Sewell right or something.
Yeah, because technically speaking, we are betting the odds in theory, but we're more so betting the odds against each other. So if everybody's going with the same option, you're not gaining any type of leverage there.
You went Williams at running back, Lucas?
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
The odds are good. Plus 600.
I think the reasoning why I did it, because I had ETN, and then we have a lot of other ones that I guess we can go through that kind of entail the position of running backs. And I kind of just evened them out because running backs don't matter. And we clearly saw last year, anything can happen, right? CH going 1. I think that being said, I wouldn't recommend betting Williams because Harris seems pretty locked in. But that doesn't mean a team wouldn't take him. Go take Devante ahead of Harris, or the Steelers draft day maybe realize they need O-line and they end up taking O-line, and then it's kind of a free for all.
I also think the Jets are possible to take ETN at 23, which is ahead of 24 with the Steelers pick, which would probably be the Najee Harris spot. So the reason I picked ETN is because I think the Jets might pick him at 23.
Yeah, and I
And
think
there's also rumors that the Jags might be like Trevor Lawrence might be pressuring the Jags into taking ETN too.
Mm-hmm. I think there was a bet. There's a bet out there like over 1.5 running backs. That's the one I probably would go bet. Like if you're trying to get action on running backs, because these lines are. I think ETN is like plus.
It's not great. It's like 150, I think. If it was like
so
more
it's
than
not
that,
really
I'd probably
worth
bet
it.
it, but it's not like that big of a return.
Mm-hmm. And then receiver we all went Chase. Last year I actually bet Ruggs because there's a little more uncertainty, but it sounds like there's not really
I'll be back in a sec.
any uncertainty at all. I'll go to. Let's see here. Not those.
Probably cap this at about an hour, yeah?
Yeah, it's probably fun.
Yeah.
I think these will be pretty fun. Let's see here.
So I can kind of explain my Slater
Go
pick.
for it.
So I made that pick back when there were some rumors, and I still think they kind of float around of Cincinnati liking him more than Sewell. So it was just like the odds were just so good.
Yeah.
And now they're going to pick Chase, which sucks.
It makes 100% like sense. You went with it.
It's just like such an interesting pick because like when we were doing this was like when I was in the Midwest, which was like 2 weeks ago, and it's like there was a lot of buzz with like some known credible draft people putting Slater above Sewell. So I'm like, let's go ahead and throw him out there. 1 point, not going to make a difference. So that was my decision there. I think the first 6 picks are very much locked. I think, like we were saying, okay, the draft starts at 3. Honestly, I think the draft starts at 6.
I would argue the draft starts at 6, I would say.
Because I still think there's a light mystery with the Dolphins pick, but it's very clear the first 5 teams already made very, very much known what they're doing. And I think by the Dolphins getting rid of Flowers, they knew they were going to need to put space for an offensive lineman. So now it's looking like we're going to have, if Sewell joins on, 4 sophomore rookies on that line because they'll move they'll have Hunt and Kinley on the inside. They'll have Jackson as the left and Sewell as the right. And obviously, so like Hunt would take the slide and move inside. That's fantastic. I've been preaching this for a long time. Line has to mesh and grow together. Line chemistry is really important. Center and quarterback chemistry is really important. Danny gets to speak on defensive end. I'll talk about offensive line because that's what I played. It's really good to have a lot of strong chemistry with the people next to you, and obviously quarterback and center needs chemistry too. Snapping the ball is a thing you need to be comfortable with. That's why we were pounding Joe Burrow get his center last year. They didn't end up doing that. T. Higgins, great pick. Joe Burrow's dead.
You mentioned continuity. Like, yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, I know I bring up the Cowboys a lot, but even look at the early 2010s for the Cowboys. They took 3 of their best players of the entire 2000s, 2010s area, all within 3 drafts of each other. You got Tyron Smith in 2011. You got Travis Frederick 2013. You got Zach Martin 2014. Those 3 learned, growed, and matured together into 3 of the best offensive linemen in the game.
And then you luck out with things like Leo Collins, who was a falling value because something had happened with him. But
he got questioned about a murder.
Yeah, that helped you. So it's just like things like that. Like, yeah, you can always add a piece a couple of years down the road. But if you have 4 guys growing together, like, yeah, I want to address center. I would love for us to get 2 linemen in our first 3 picks. Like, it sounds wild, but if you can minimize the things that Tua is the problem with, if you could say, okay, he's not getting sacked, he's not getting pressured, he's fine. Now it's just a weapon issue. And then if you realize it's not a weapon issue because maybe you get Bateman at the 18, then that's when you move off a quarterback. You see, you're trying to find, you don't think Tua's the guy, right? People don't think he's the guy. Block out every single reason why anyone would argue that he is the guy. And then you see if he's the problem, then you go address it next year's draft. Like that's what you got to do.
I think that's fair, but like at some points, like you can't, because like the Broncos were saying about Locke this year, and our whole front 7 went on the IR, and Sutton got hurt, and then you're left in another dead zone. Like, so I get what you're saying, but like I think it's also like kind of made up in a sense, because like what was wrong with Rosen? Like, is he just bad? Could we all think he's bad because he never?
I think
the
he
line
was
was terrible.
because like teams gave up on him so fast that it makes me think it was all mental with him. Like,
Yeah,
'cause if it was just like he's not playing well because he has bad weapons, like they would have given him more of a leash. But like with him and Haskins, they were just like so quick to move on with the guy that he must have just been a head case or something that they didn't want to deal with. I think with the Dolphins, you mentioned Bateman at 18. I have never seen him mock to the Dolphins. I don't know why. I don't know why I haven't seen him mock there. It makes a lot of sense.
And we need a possession guy. I mean, Will Fuller's 1 year, and that sucks. Like, I wish we would have gotten like a guy like Galladay for 3 or 4 years. Like why don't we get a long-term solution?
Well, I mean, you could have just signed Will. I think Will Fuller would have made a ton more sense than Galladay. Like, I just don't understand.
He signed Will Fuller to a 1-year contract. If he plays well, you can always extend him mid-season.
It's just it feels so much like the Dolphins to just move off of him. Like, I feel like we'll just have him for a year. Like, I just feel that.
Well, I think the only way you just have him for a year is if he wasn't worth his contract, or if he doesn't
get Waddle.
I guess I have a kind of a question. Like, so on the Dolphins pick, you referenced that like Tua got pressured. He was 32nd among quarterbacks in snaps pressured. So like, I don't think that was the problem. Like, obviously, I still think they go Waddle just because I don't think not that B-Flow is like on the hot seat, but I think he's a year out.
You got to look at the issue with that. Why he was not pressured at all is because he also look at his time to throw. Like, he literally made throws within like a second. Like, every single play was short, intermediate, like routes, screen plays, slants. Like, that's literally what the offense was carried on. So that's another issue.
He ranked 29th in time to throw.
You know what's going to be interesting? Real quick, just want to talk about this. Is if Devante Smith free falls in this draft, which I do think could happen because the weight concerns, they're real. Like, the teams are probably wary of them. There's probably 10 teams in the first round that won't pick Devante Smith because of his weight, if I had to guess. If he starts to free fall, what are the odds of Miami coming up to get him? If let's say they take Sewell at 6 or something, with someone that's not a receiver at 6.
I mean, we were all in this dumb draft, which now the deeper we're into it, the more of a joke it is. But I mean, I got Sewell at 6, and then I went right back and got Smith at 18. Now, I don't think that's reasonable. But
that would be a home run draft if you got that.
Like, the Broncos didn't need a quarterback, so that means Patriots may get one, which means they won't get a wide receiver. And it looks like Minnesota will go line.
I think
you would have to move up for Smith if you were to get him.
He won't go past 16.
I don't think. That's the thing.
Yeah, they'll take him if he's there because the Cardinals act like they don't have any needs and they have a lot of needs, and they're going to have a little bit of a luxury pick and take Smith, which, I mean, it's a good pick, like, or whatever, but like, he won't pass 16. The Giants said he's like the number 1 on their board. I don't know how real that report is, if you will. Like,
I think you'd have to get up to 9, 10, or maybe 11 or 12. Like, you've already dealt with the Eagles. That would make sense if he slipped past the Giants. But I kind of do actually believe Joe Judge when he said that, because I think he's kind of like the type of Patriots receiver that they would like. So that actually doesn't shock me that like a Patriots coach, like former Patriots coach, would really like Devante Smith. I think it's really interesting to me because I think Devante Smith is one of the like sneaky storylines of this draft that could become a huge storyline of it. Like, because I also think there's a chance that he goes 6. Like that,
his range of outcomes. His range of outcomes out of all the receivers in the first round is probably the largest, in my opinion.
And I think
because of those concerns.
And I think it's like,
I'll bet you guys right now that there's a surprise in the first 6 picks.
Definitely,
like, not Mac Jones or Trey. Like, I mean, like 4, 5, 6. Like, there's a surprise.
I don't think so.
I think it's pretty locked in top. I think this draft starts.
I don't know, dude. We thought that the year that there was like the 3 blue chip prospects, Nelson, Chubb, and Barkley, we thought that was like locked in. Then Denzel Ward went 4. So like, to me, I see somebody going off script. Like maybe the Falcons.
It was like out of the picture that like, the team clearly needed a corner that year. They took Baker and it was between him or Chubb. Like, it wasn't like it was like a.
No, dude. Nobody expected Ward to go there. They thought they were going to take Chubb or Nelson.
That is the Browns. That makes sense, but.
Anyways, it's about at the 58.5-minute mark. You guys want to wrap this up at the hour mark?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, I guess this is a good comment that Joe put out about the free agents. Yeah, I was actually like listening to Silva talk about this with someone, and like the reasoning, and I mean everyone's initial thought is like, oh, the salary cap's gonna go up next year, like right, like that's kind of like they did that this year to adjust for next year, but like I don't think it because the GMs dictate the salary cap, like it's their money, right? Like it's not like the league's like, here, you have to set it at this. Like it's the GM's money that like they have to factor into it. Like I kind of think like this cap won't really ever go back to normal. Like it will slowly work its way up, but like I think that was kind of the reason with all the 1-year deals. But like I don't know how it's going to affect next year, because everyone was saying next year these players are going to get a ton of freaking money, and then the Patriots went out and signed all these dudes because I think they kind of know that that's like not the case, because they're going to have to pay less for these or pay more to secure the guys next year. But just a kind of comment, I guess.
I don't know. The cap thing, to me, I just think that's all they could get. I think all that was out there for Schuster was 1-year deals. All that was out there for Will Fuller was 1-year deals. I don't think they're like playing some genius move where they're like, oh, we're going to get paid big time.
I think
like they took what they could get.
The Schuster one's different because I think his was he just kind of likes Pittsburgh, because like you don't turn down a 2-year deal with the Chiefs like just cause, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I think his is a little different. But like the Fuller one, like it could easily be like no other team offered him like as much as he got offered. Like it could easily be that. We just will never know.
Yeah, and that could be a cap thing too because of the salary cap. Anyway, let's head out of here. We might be we're like we said, we're going to be live tomorrow before the draft, probably around 7:30. So make sure you guys are tuned into that. Put your jersey or favorite team on, get your drinks or whatever. We're going to be probably doing the same. We'll just be kicking it, talking about the draft picks. We're going to have mostly instant reaction stuff. Like, so if you're expecting hard hitting analysis, we're probably not going to provide that.
By the way,
after the draft, like,
Corey,
is
there a betting line for Denny crying on the Cowboys pick this year?
You take those odds. But I was going to say, man, we got to be able to clip when our team picks, so we can put little like teaser videos out on the channel too. That'd be fun.
No matter what you say, I do have a screenshot of you saying the Cowboys would have gotten 9 wins last year with Dak, so you can't win off that.
Well, yeah, no, they would have gotten 9 wins last year with Dak.
All right, let's head out of here.
Well, why is that a negative thing?
Peace out, boys.
No, I'm not saying.
Okay, peace.